Hello, good evening, and welcome to a Legacy Cube Draft. Last week it was the Legendary Cube Draft, where anything could happen, and this week we return to something a little more familiar, a little more typical, and we open this pack. Now, lands are very good, so there's the shock lands, there's the dual lands, but even better than the dual lands are the, the fetch lands here. And there doesn't stand out to me any card that is much better than this Bloodstained Mire. Like, there's a couple cards for some aggressive decks, but not the best cards, like Flamewake, Phoenix, Skullcrack, Mirren Crusader. Journey to Nowhere is fine, aggro or control. Dragonlord Silumgar is very good, but it's two colors, and even in that deck you might want something like Bloodstained Mire more. Yeah, but I do like Bloodstained Mire better than Volcanic Island, Scrubland, and so forth. So this pack, you know, it's not very powerful, and Bloodstained Mire is just going to be a great pick. It almost doesn't matter what colors or what direction we go in. It'll just be good. So next, another more or less weak pack. I don't love Dark Confidant. It limits what you can do. I'm not sure if black aggro is a good idea. Maybe black-red. We have a Bloodstained Mire. Maybe that could be good. Cards like Whirler Rogue are impressive. Card advantage like Underworld Connections could be fine. The ever-present Mimic Vat, which I'll be impressed when I see someone play this and you know, it does something great. Which could happen. I could take Sin Collector. It's very early for a pick like this, so I'm not sure if I like it. Or Buried Alive. Alright. Buried Alive puts us in, you know, commits us to some kind of reanimator strategy, and that could be quite good in Cube. This is the only real build-around powerful card that I saw in that pack, so yeah, let's go for that. Along those lines, we could take Godless Shrine. Red is fine in Reanimator, blue, but also white. And again, there's nothing here that is it's insanely good. There's Daze for the blue mage that can't pass 2 mana Force Spikes, or 0 mana really if you have islands. Frost Titan is good. Olivia Voldaren is pretty powerful, but you know, I'm not knowing the direction you're going. Just keep picking up these lands until something more powerful comes along. All right, Elspeth, quite powerful, not a bad one. Ulamog is fine, but it doesn't work with Buried Alive so much. And then there's Marsh Flats. So yeah, let's keep taking these lands, and maybe we just end up in a many-colored powerful deck. Temple is a little bit weaker, although it's fine. A Theomancer and Necromancy. A Theomancer doesn't look like much, but I know whenever my opponent plays a Theomancer, it's like, oh, how am I going to get around all that? And sometimes you can play it with something like Recurring Nightmare, and you just get a lot of value. So it gives you it buys you some time. Death Touch is incredibly relevant and all that. Necromancy, on the other hand, helps us, you know, get our foot in the door. You know, if we take a Necromancy, it means someone else doesn't get their 9th pick Necromancy or whatever, so we'll take it. And follow it up with... I don't love using Sensei's Divining Top, and I'm not sure how good it would be in a Reanimator strategy. Like, I just don't know. It's probably okay, but unless you really like ordering the top of your library, maybe you opened a Miracle, whatever you call it, then it's better. But Spellskite could be good as well. There's some white controlling cards. I don't like the dual lands that aren't fetchable. So those are priorities now that we have 2 fetch lands. We have one already. The Godless Shrine is great. Anyway, Spellskite is good in multiple matchups, and I'm fine taking it here. Ooh, so anything good here? Actually, Gideon Jura is very good, but not necessarily in this deck. Gifts Ungiven could be good. Exclude is a nice new one. Relic of Progenitus is good against us. Might be worth picking up. Yeah, given... Gideon Jura is pretty nice, but it doesn't really work with this strategy. Whereas Relic works really good against us. Tell you what, I'm going to take Gideon Jura here, and then it leaves us out. Skin Render's fine as well, but I'm going to take Gideon Jura just because of its power level. And maybe we end up in some white-black token strategy. Well, it looks like that might be possible since we get both Secure the Wastes and Spectral Procession, both of which very nice in a token strategy. And to be honest, I'm not sure which one is better. They both have their upsides, like Secure the Wastes, that can be your one-of Fireball in any white control deck. And Spectral Procession is a bit more aggressive. Yeah. I'm going to take Secure the Waste, actually. That could be wrong, depending on what happens here, but we wheel Mirren Crusader. That is nuts. This just beats some decks. Yeah, there's Scrubland here, Gatekeeper, Mannequin. But if things like Mirren Crusader keep coming back, maybe we just About Face, which is also a magic card, and go into some kind of white aggressive shell. So passing up Scrubland, but Mirren Crusader just wins against any kind of black-green deck. So they don't print things like protection from colors anymore. Well, certainly not as often. It occurs on some mythic rares. I've got some Darjeeling Tea here to help us out in this draft. Sin Collector, I was talking about that. Very nice one, and we do have the fixing for black-white, or most of it anyway. Not the Scrubland, but that's okay. Erebos versus Malicious Affliction, and there's some merit in looking at active aggression. It's a 3-mana colorless spell, or if you're in red, you get a discount on life sometimes. I'll take Erebos. It looks like we're more white than black at this point, so Malicious Affliction is fine, but Erebos, you know, maybe that's... maybe that was wrong. We get a Phyrexian Obliterator here. It could be that this white business was just a dream, and we go back into the... So, well, white and black are open. Dark Ritual, I do like the Ephiomancer here. Both of these cards are good. I wouldn't mind having them, but I was talking about Ephiomancer and how good that might be. Ooh, Cunning Spark Mage. Well, that's pretty good against tokens. But so is Arc Trail, so I don't really mind either of those. Gifts Ungiven. Gifts Ungiven last pick makes me wonder if Reanimator is still open. So we've got Necromancy, Gifts Ungiven. Ooh. This is one of the most powerful cards in the cube. Opposition. And we have Secure the Wastes, which works very well with it. But there's also Dictate of Heliod, and Bramaz, King of Rescus, and Shieldred for that matter. Yeah, I'm stumped. I mean, Dismember's good. Hopefully one of these can wheel. Bramaz is just a... You know, both Bramaz and Dictator are so powerful in this type of deck. It's very hard to say which... Tell you what though, I think we have stronger white cards than we have Reanimator cards. We don't have the strongest, you know, Entomb, Exhume, Reanimate. And Opposition would be fun, but we're so far from being blue. So I'm going to first pick this, God, it's still between Bramaz and Dictate of Heliod. I'll first pick the Dictate. It might look weird, but this is really a game winner. And once you have a couple of these effects in play, your opponent, you know, any creature you play is just going to be huge. Now we can pick on Offensa here, given that will probably be more white than black, otherwise Drana would be fine. The 2-drops are much more important than they look. Like, even though Unoffense is a little weaker than Drana in most cases, it's just the fact that it fills this gap, and you'll have other things to do on turn 3. So between that and it being a turn solid white card, that's going to be the tiebreaker. Manatide, that might wheel. I will be happy to pick that up because it's just a fun effect. Some people like playing their Manatides, and I'm one of them. Alright, not bad, not bad. The problem with this pack is that all of the cards are powerful, but expensive. Even Emeria Angel is more expensive than I would like. So maybe the white aggressive deck isn't really open, and we should just focus on like a mid-range white weenie deck. That doesn't sound great. There's also Grizzlebrand. And that could push us back into some kind of reanimator. Elspeth is great. Oh, Entomb is here. So both of the decks we're in are open, and I don't want to go back and forth. I'm going to stick to the token strategy and take Elspeth Tyrell here. Okay, not regretting that. Even though there's still some more black cards here, I'll take Thalia. This is you know, it prevents us from playing some of our cards, but in the aggressive white deck, it's one of the most powerful cards you can take. Banishing Light is here. And a lot of the spells we have to cast are creatures. You can even cut something like Gideon Jura. He's more of a good card against aggressive decks, not for them. And we just can't play that many 5-drops. But yeah, Thalia is great. They kept the old art where you can't really see her face very well, but still a nice one. Yeah, more reanimation spells coming around, so we cut it pretty heavily in pack 1. However, I do like sticking to the game plan. Windbrisk Heights and Seeker of the Way are both good considerations here. We need 2-drop creatures, so I'll take Seeker of the Way. And it's a pretty powerful one. If you can play Seeker into some kind of Dictate on the same turn, it's just such a good life swing. One of the best cards in the aggressive mirror. So is a Theomancer, by the way, but we'll see. We'll see if how deeply we have to dip into a second color. Oh, Reanimate is here. Okay, so Yosei's fine. It's a little expensive. There's Badlands, doesn't do much. I'll take Reanimate. I'm being forced to do this. I had no choice. Terminus, Vindicate. These are also good ones. Grafted War Gear is pretty good too. Equip 0 just makes your creature huge. But this is tough, and since we do have the black fixing, Vindicate is just fine. Efficient removal spell, it actually deals with planeswalkers and troublesome lands. Just, yeah, destroy target permanent, that's so good. I'll take that because it works similarly to the War Gear. You have a couple 2-drops out, you play Vindicate. It kind of gets in there. Crusade. Yeah, this is a nice one to pick up. White creatures get +1/+1. We have Secure the Wastes. Even Sin Collector is white. Erebos might get the cut here. And Dismember, efficient, Goblin Guide going late. Sometimes the aggressive decks are just open. People are trying to have fun, right? So it's cube. So what you want to do is be the fun police and just let nobody have any fun. And that's kind of the goal here. Not always, but sometimes it's open. Okay, so I forget if this was the pack or not, but there was like a Grizzlebrand and a Reanimate, or some other kind of thing, Animate Dead. And they're not back yet. Legacy's Allure is hard to play against. Meteor Blast would be annoying. I don't think we're going to see that on the other side of the field, though. Whoa, Grizzlebrand is back. So, Ameria Angel is not... Well, I guess it does kind of work in this deck. We have a fetch land. That is sad. People don't know what they're doing. They're not taking Grizzlebrand, and I guess we'll join them. We'll take Ameria Angel. I'm a little worried about not getting enough playables, and we have committed to a nice aggressive white strategy. Pillar of Flame, very good against us. Bloodthrone Vampire, fine, but we didn't pick up the Blood Artist or anything, so... Actually, probably just take the Windbrisk Kites anyway. There's our Blood Artist, and Mishra's Factory's back, that's fine. Even the Grafted War Gear we had our eyes on. Need a little help rather, from Pack 3, but I think we can get there. And maybe start cutting things like some extra black cards that we don't need. Okay, two pretty good options here. The Legionnaire and the Precinct Captain. The Legionnaire is nice because even a mono red deck would want this. It's just a 2-mana 3/1 first strike. And the Precinct Captain is fine in a token strategy, but it's not necessarily always better. And it has a higher chance of wheeling, because less decks are interested in this effect. So let's take Legionnaire and pass some fun ones. Living Death, Genesis Wave for the over-the-top mage, and probably my favorite here is Young Pyromancer, followed by Remove Soul, Electrolyze. And Living Death is a nice one as well. But yeah, this deck is filling in pretty well. These Anthem effects are important. Dictate and Crusade are among the better ones. Well, less so Crusade, but it works fine. They usually all do the same thing. Ooh, Soldier of the Pantheon. Perfect. We don't have too many 1-drops. We didn't see many either. So maybe someone's going to go underneath us in some kind of white strategy. Hopefully not. But wow, was a Reanimator ever open? Karmic Guide, that's a fine one. A Johnny Goldmane is pretty good. As long as you have some creatures to back it up. We could cut a Supreme Verdict, but I'm not really into that. I'll take a Johnny Goldmane here. And Soulfire Grandmaster is not terrible. Just a 2/2 lifelink without really much other text. There's also a Leonin Relic Warder, artifact or enchantment. It's funny that this Relic Warder deals with enchantments as well, but I guess that's fine. The Relic Warder might be a little stronger than the Grandmaster, assuming we can't activate it, because it just gets rid of something troublesome. Or not, you know, but... And the Grandmaster is a little better against us. You may exile, so we don't have to exile our own equipment or anything like that. Yeah, I'll take the... well... The argument here is that maybe the Relic Warder wheels and the Grandmaster probably doesn't, but I'm confident in this pick more or less. Flooded Strand is a pretty good pickup here. There's Oust, I suppose, and Assemble of the Legion and things like that. But Flooded Strand, what it does, it helps landfall for something like Ameria Angel. And thinning the deck is quite relevant in an aggressive deck where you just don't want to draw lands after a certain point. Champion of the Parish, and some expensive other white cards. I like Eldrazi Monument. It's a little confusing, so maybe it comes back. Well, it's not so confusing, it just gives all your guys a huge boost into the air, and they can't be dealt with anymore. And Champion of the Parish does well with humans. So I guess we should have taken the human, not the cat. But there's a few other humans here, so... Champion of the Parish is one of the stronger options. But it's too bad these guys aren't humans, they're just warriors. Okay, Spear of Heliod. Yep, in this pack, that's going to be the pick. That'll be our third Anthem effect. And it's a nice one. The only thing weaker about this than something like Glorious Anthem is that it is an artifact as well. So more removal spells hit it. And Gather the Townsfolk. That is exactly what this deck wants. Zulaport Cutthroat would be interesting, but we didn't get Blood Artist and Thespian Stage for the player who picks up Dark Depths. Bring in Merit Lage, the wannabe Eldrazi. So we did it. We got Precinct Captain back. It's nice, it's a human. It doesn't make humans, but that's fine. Anger of the Gods is insane against us, whereas Brimstone Volley and Abrupt Decay, they trade 1 for 1, so those aren't quite as good against us. No one's in the Reanimator deck, so I'm not worried about Dread Return. Maybe Roast is annoying, Brainstorm's fine. Karmic Guide, is that a card we would play? Maybe. It's a good one. And it does have protection from black, so it's another card that just randomly wins against certain decks. Yeah, Dismember is fine. We'll usually be ahead in life. And if we're not, something is already very wrong. Grafted War Gear is good. Ashiok would be annoying to play against. Slaughter Pact and these other ones not so much, although Grim Lavamancer is pretty good. It going this late means nobody probably wants it anyway. But Ashiok, yeah. You know, there are packs where I would first pick Ashiok. It's very fun to play with. And it's just easy to play with. You just plus every turn, and that'll win the game on its own by exiling their library. Or if you see an excellent creature, you can play it. Or if you're really behind and you just need a creature to block, you can kind of sacrifice Ashiok to bring a big creature in. Okay. Yeah, Tasigur. Cards like this are swingy. Like sometimes an opponent can just stabilize because of playing it. Angel of Serenity. We already have Mishra's Factory, so I don't need Mutavault. Divinity of Pride, a little hard to cast. Well, actually in this deck, it's probably very easy to cast. But it's not that good. It's kind of a win more card. If you're at 25 life, you've already gained a bunch of life, and then you've got an even bigger flying lifelink 5-mana monstrosity. Let's get rid of some of these cards. Not playing Ashiok. Spellskite could come in. Maybe there's some combo decks around. This is Legacy Cube, not Modern Cube, so Splinter Twin is still somewhere out there, I would assume. Right. This is 23. That looks like a little too something. Maybe Tasigur makes it in. A little too many cards. Or sorry, a little too few cards. So maybe we could play Gideon Jura and call it a day. It's unlikely we ever get to cast Erebos. Dismembers, a 1-drop. 24, yeah, I could see 16 with this, where one of them is Mishra's Factory, and the rest produce white. We could do 1 Swamp, so the Bloodstained Mire has 2 things to hit, the Godless Shrine and the Swamp, and then that should be good. Okay, Erebos. Your opponents can't gain life. I think that's a fine sideboard card. Angel of Serenity is too expensive. Tasigur is not amazing. Divinity of Pride is kind of... It could go in and out for Gideon Jura, but Gideon Jura is a solid card. Okay, looks pretty good. So yeah, we really just want one swamp in here. Maybe that's too few plains, but we'll see. So we can cut a bunch of plains here. And how many white sources is this? Looks like 15. But wait, where is Mishra's factory? Is it safe to go down to 14 white sources? I'm not sure about that. It's a little bit risky. Yeah, gotta live life here. Sure, so that's 13 white sources. In most two-color decks, that would be more than enough. This is one color, so we really need to hit it. And we really do need to hit double white, but it is a lot of white sources. So that is first cube of the new season here. And I'll see you back for round 1.